This is Sex Love Psychedelics, and I'm your host, Dr. Kat, bringing you psychosexual conversations that will leave you intellectually turned on and hungry for more. From our audience, I always put out questions to followers on Sex Love Yoga, and these questions, I've got 3 of them. Okay. First one, are there any herbs that amplify the psilocybin experience? So I don't know if they're talking microdosing, macrodosing.
I would imagine microdosing, but let's talk about chocolate. So there's a chocolate that I know of, and that chocolate has Kana, which is a heart opener from South Africa. Also quite stimulating. Theobromine, which is the heart opener in cacao. Lion's mane, which is a functional mushroom, and Damiana, which is an aphrodisiac. And there's a gram of psilocybin, ghost strain in particular, in these chocolates. And the reason that formulation was chosen by the individual who chose that formulation is because they wanted something that was a heart opener. They wanted something that was like a hippie flip, which is a combination of MDMA and psilocybin, but they didn't want the intense next day effects of MDMA. MDMA, they prefer not to work with synthetics, right? And so they chose Kana and theobromine because they're both really good heart openers. You combine that with psilocybin as the non-specific amplifier, and boom, you have this beautiful medicine that acts as an incredible heart opener. It's not overly psychedelic. And that's because the intention is for ceremony, the intention is for connection, the intention is for opening. Now that same person has another microdosing formulation. And in that microdosing formulation, there's Tongkat Ali, otherwise known as Long Jack. There's Lion's Mane, there's Cordyceps, there's Bacopa, there's Shilajit. Right. And so clearly, and there's a little bit of golden teachers in there, like 160 milligrams of golden teachers. So the intention of that microdosing formulation, as you can tell by the herbal selection, is focus. It's masculine. It's, motivation. It's execution. It's getting things done. Flow state. Yeah. Right. So the choice of herbs. Now, there could also be ashwagandha. There could be rhodiola. There could be other adaptogens. The choice of herbs influences the intention, or better said, the intention influences the choice of herbs. So I think just knowing different herbs and then recognizing that psilocybin as a non-specific amplifier is just going to have a sort of amplifying effect, an intensifying effect on those herbs themselves. That would be kind of my lens and context on that.
Amazing. Oh, I love that. Okay. Second question. I get a terrible stomach ache when I do mushrooms or acid. Any tips?
Yeah. So with mushrooms, lemon tech for sure, because a lot of the nausea from, let's say, raw mushrooms or dried mushrooms comes from something called chitin, CHITIN. And so when you lemon tech, and we have an article that you can link to on our website about lemon teching. When you lemon tech the mushrooms, it breaks down the chitin and makes it way less likely to create nausea. So I would say first step, lemon tech. If you're doing it with LSD and you're getting pretty bad nausea, my recommendation would be to take ginger alongside the LSD, because it'll just help to calm the stomach. You can't really lemon tech acid at this point in time. But that would be my recommendation for LSD in particular.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Last one. I love MDMA. Oh, this kind of goes with what you just shared, but I feel depressed the 2 days after. Why would we do it? They didn't ask this part, but maybe is there something that can support somebody in that, the depression?
Yeah. So MDMA, I feel like, is like one of those first generation psychedelics. It's pretty good. MAPS has their protocol for PTSD, 3 MDMA sessions in a 12-week period. It is incredible for healing emotional trauma. It's incredible for relationships. And like the chocolate that I just mentioned, I find to be superior because you get a lot of the same effects, but you feel even better the next day rather than not so good. So I think the first question is, do you absolutely need to do MDMA? And for some folks, it's a yes. For some folks, it's going to be a very good thing. And if that's the case, make sure you supplement. Make sure you supplement with NAC. Make sure you supplement with 5-HTP. Make sure you supplement with magnesium. There's a whole list that you could probably link to about all the different supplements that you should take before, during, and after an MDMA session. And I think the second thing then is like to take it quite early in the day. Now, this is not true for raves, obviously. So I'm assuming this person is coming at it from, let's say, a more intentional or therapeutic or connected place. But what I always do with MDMA, if I am taking it, is I try to take it at like 2 to 3 in the afternoon, because one of the key reasons we feel so shitty for the next day or a couple of days after is often because of a lack of good sleep. And so if we take it early enough, then, when 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock rolls around, it's much easier to get to bed. And that's also going to help with the recovery process.
Well, that was fun. Thanks for tuning in, lovers. And if you want to experience more ecstasy and sexual liberation, head over to sexlovepsychedelics.com and learn about how you can join me for any one of my online or live events. And while you're there, grab my free guide on sex and psychedelics. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please contact your healthcare provider and local law before pursuing any of the products or psychedelics discussed. And one final note here. I make this show specifically for you. If you're loving the show, then be sure to leave me a review in iTunes or Spotify to let me know. Happy to be here and happy to serve. I'll see you next time on Sex Love Psychedelics.